team, but they've lost 2 consecutive games. First time it's happened in about a month and a half. Tough one last night in Phoenix.
They are 4th in offensive rating, however. And before we get going here, let's just play for the audience again a little montage of Eric Collins being excited.
LaMelo! Yes! With the guts of a cat burglar, we're tied at 97. Lamb's gonna have to fire. Make it hurt, Trey. Looking like Vince Carter! Trey, man, come alive! The greatest shot by LaMelo Ball! Miles Bridges! Hum diddly dee! LaMelo! Oh, a double clutch dipsy do boom! Half court alley-oop! This is Hornets basketball!
Eric, take me through the origins of Hum Diddly Dee, please. I'd like to hear how it is that Hum Diddly Dee became a thing.
I used to play high school basketball, and I was big into Heavy D and the Boys, and their big song was "We Got Our Own Thing," and it always began with "Hum Diddly 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 Dee." And I used to that was like an earworm for me for many, many years. And I'd be sitting on the end of the bench in high school, and it would just be kind of going through my head. And every once in a while, a nice play would happen, and I'd say "Hum Diddly Dee" out loud. And years later, when I got a job in the NBA, it just kind of became my thing. But that's the genesis of it. It's a Heavy D and the Boys reference.
None
Diddly dee!
None of the players know who Heavy D is, correct?
Oh, no way. No chance. But he was hot for a while, man, back in the 80s.
Yeah.
The overweight lover.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. I appreciate it. One of the few guys that's allowed to be the fat entertainer. We don't allow a lot of those, and Heavy D embraced it. But none of the players have any idea what you're talking about. I was arguing last week, Eric, that if LaMelo Ball is your best player, you're going to be what the Hornets have been. But if he's your third best player, you're going to be what the Hornets have been over the last couple of months, which is before this recent streak. That starting lineup was 20-2. They had won 16 of their last 19, and the 6-game winning streak they had, they were beating everybody by 15, including the last 3 defending champions. Is this the best time you have seen in all of Hornets history?
Wow. Well, now hold on here. You know, I saw the Hornets quite a bit back in the 90s. I was in the NBA back at the time with the Chicago Bulls, and those were really super, super solid teams. You know, I think people kind of go to sleep on them. They had great attendance, but they actually had pretty good teams. This run right now is on par with any of the best runs the Hornets have had as a franchise. You know, 16-5 in the last 21 games. That stands up to, you know, a lot of different teams' runs over the years. But it is fun the way that they're playing. The manner in which they're playing. You make a fantastic point with LaMelo Ball because he is still the straw that stirs the drink. But the help that he's getting has allowed him to flourish physically and mentally as well. LaMelo's a wonderful, wonderful player who's got a lot of things going on in his wonderful head. He's an artist at heart. But he gets frustrated. And the frustration level has gone so far down because he's got Kon Knueppel playing with him. He's got others. But Kon has made everything a little bit better just because the gravity of who he is as a player, the attention that he commands, his ability to be a second ball handler and a second creator. All of a sudden, LaMelo's not getting double teamed at half court. He's not getting physical the minute he gets the ball in bounds. You know, there's other weapons on the floor, and he's thriving because of it. He's smiling again. The Hornets are playing with his type of character and his joy because he's allowed to be free again and not have to worry about some of the other things that he was dealing with for years and years and years when he was the number one option with a bullet.
He's been a problem child, though, no? He seems wildly immature.
I wouldn't call him a problem child by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a good kid. I think he's the product of his upbringing. You know, he had a lot of things that were kind of came easy to him, or maybe he definitely didn't have a stereotypical childhood. You know, the guy was taken out of high school and kind of placed all across the world with his dad. It's kind of hard to kind of get a good feeling for who you are and where you are in the world when that happens. But I think he's growing into his body and growing into his game. You know, I've seen demonstrative changes throughout the course of the year. This is by far the best 2-month window I've ever seen him as a professional, and it's translated not just to off the floor, but on the floor as well.
There's no way anyone saw Kon Knueppel being this right now, right?
I did not. I'm a big believer in watching adults. I don't watch a lot of college basketball. I just get frustrated. But just everything that I read about the guy, yeah, good shooter, good form, whatever. But the guy is fantastic, man. He is a real player. He understands where to be on the floor. He elevates the level of everyone he's playing with just because literally he gets so much attention no matter where he is because he is a knockdown shooter. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I never thought I'd see a better shooter with better form than Mark Price. But this guy is. And just because he's bigger and stronger and he can shoot from farther distances just because of that size. Kon Knueppel is, man, for people who are debating Cooper Flagg and Kon Knueppel, you're missing the whole point. You got to fall in love with Kon Knueppel just because he is so uniquely gifted and it's going to be good for so long.
In terms of names that you enjoy saying, who finishes second place all time to Kon Knueppel?
Well, I was early, and I do a lot of. I used to do a lot of college basketball, and Sandro Mamukelashvili, for some reason, I perfected that name years and years and years ago. So I will find a way virtually every 2 or 3 broadcasts, even when he's not playing against us, I will find a way to say Sandro Mamukelashvili because I feel so comfortable in that my ability to say that word.
So you like saying that better than even Kon Knueppel you're willing to say here nationally? You're willing to put your name on that?
Well, Knueppel's great. But I don't want to kind of get caught sometimes, it's certain names that,
you're scared of the nipple?
I'm scared. Yeah. So it's always, I got to play it right down the middle. So it's Kon Knueppel, and I don't really kind of vary. I don't kind of give too many illusions. It's Kon Knueppel.
You mentioned that the Hornets had some solid teams in the 90s, but go ahead and give me the greatest moment in franchise history.
Well, it'd be relatively sad, but Alonzo Mourning hit a jump shot in the second round of the playoffs. I don't recall the year, probably 94, 95 against the Celtics to eliminate the Celtics. In the first round of the playoffs, that's the only time the Hornets ever made it to the second round. That would be the biggest moment. That's the biggest shot, the biggest win, and it has been 30 years ago. So
that's before Heavy D.
It's on par with Heavy D. Heavy D was probably enjoying that one. Yes.
That's unbelievable that you went to Alonzo Mourning pre-heat in order to get your biggest memory in franchise history, which got you to the second round.
Yeah. Well, the bigger things was kind of off the court. The Hornets, the attendance was insane. It changed basketball. They're the origin of all these different things. The PSL. They sold out 9 consecutive years. They led the league in attendance with 24,000 for years and years and years. There was a buzz here, but there hasn't been excessive winning. That's for sure.
Could you solve a long-standing mystery for me? Because purple shirt guy in the eyes of Miami Heat fans, it's an iconic moment. He was jawing back and forth with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade went demigod on him, and the Heat ended up advancing in that. Purple shirt guy never returned. It's almost as if he actually felt shame, which today is weird. Usually they double down and just wear a purple shirt forever and become the guy that's sitting courtside that will always annoy them. But he disappeared. Why was that?
No one knows, but he definitely, I don't even think he's even come back to the arena incognito. That would have been spring of 2016. That was the last time that the Hornets were in the playoffs, and they probably should have won that playoff series. They were up through 5 games. They just needed to win one more, and they couldn't do it. Now, Dwayne Wade is a huge part of that. But yeah, I do think that there's a bit of shame. The guy, we don't do certain things in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a southern genteel city, and he was ostentatious, and I think the locals thought that, we don't need any of that. And I think a lot of hardcore Hornets fans thought that, dude, you cost us a win, man. Why are you getting underneath Dwayne Wade's skin? And yeah, he's not been around. To the best of my knowledge,
that was old Wade too. That was Wade at the very end, the last embers of Dwayne Wade. We didn't think any of that was still in him by that point.
He was always prime Wade when he played against the Hornets. No matter what year of his career, it was always prime Dwayne Wade. I'm here to tell you.
Eric, how does the Hornet fan feel about Michael Jordan these days?
Well, there's always going to be a reverence and a respect, because Michael, just of everything he meant, not only to, basketball, but to this particular region. But I think the time was perfect for there to be a changing of the guard. We've got literally 180-degree different representation in terms of ownership. We've got younger guys who were not basketball players who just kind of fell in love with the game and want to do things in a different way. And I think it's been a massive shot in the arm. We've got this fantastically young, hip, smart front office, and they're working in conjunction with the coaching staff to get players that are moldable and are malleable to the ideas of, hey, this is Hornets basketball, and these are the ways we're going to have to try and win. And I just think the trade deadline deal of Kobe White was hugely indicative of what the Hornets can do in the future. The Hornets with a young core, a lot of people just figure, let's build with LaMelo, let's build with Brandon Miller, build with Kon Knueppel. But they saw a distressed asset in Kobe White. They knew that Kobe was a guy who could fill a definitive need that the coaching staff had been talking about for months. The Hornets were not great in end-of-quarter situations. Kobe White is fantastic in 2-for-1s, in getting his own shot, and setting up guys, and taking heaves. And so they went out and got him. And I think that has raised the floor for this team quite a bit. And I think they have a really good chance of doing something over the final 17 games of the season. And maybe the plan, maybe possibly get into the 6th spot. But yeah, I think things are really, really looking up right now. I think people are super excited.
Do you think there is any way that we can trick that young, smart, hip front office into taking back Terry Rozier?
No, sorry. He's all yours.
Okay.
That was really rough. Yes, but yes, no, that's not going to be rescinded. Hornets have had one trade rescinded recently. That was the Mark Williams fiasco out in LA with the Lakers, and I don't think it's going to happen again.
How many times will you physically actually get out of your seat while broadcasting a game?
I do. It's a very physical experience for me. And I've got a partner in Del Curry who suffers me, and he's totally cool with it. So it's kind of like the George Costanza effect. We started one way, and the next year we take it to another level. And it's all natural and fun to me, and it's just the way that I kind of enjoy a basketball game. But to give it an actual number, it's probably 6 times a game. I probably do.
Wow,
yeah,
really?
Times,
6
something
times a
moves
game.
Me.
So are you ever, has there been during this stretch at any point your glutes or thighs or anything in the hamstrings or nether regions is sore the next day from the amount that you're getting up out of your seat?
Nothing is ever sore, but my ego every once in a while takes a couple of hits because the people, particularly on the road, when they see me kind of get up and down and get excited about something that they deem to be trivial, I get glares. But I figured out a long time in this career that, having a really low bar in terms of embarrassment is probably a good thing. But yes, people think that I'm a kind of a nutso on the sidelines, but who cares? It is what it is.
Yeah, that sounds like a man being shivved in prison. Let me hear that again. Yeah, if I take out the ambient noise, that is somebody being stabbed by their bunk. No, that one was more excitement.
That guy's pretty pumped for that.
Jubilant.
Yeah. Eric, thank you for being on with us. Congratulations on the success, sir.
Hey, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.